electromagnetic, geological, geographic, hydrographic, and meteorological characteristics of the area.
It's Grease Lightning. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Atoasttotheatypical. I'm Brit.
And I'm Dale.
You are pre-drunk.
Yeah.
So this is going to be fun.
I was pre-gaming for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a...
Faux show. And it's funny because I'm leading this episode.
Yeah.
So I was pre-gaming. You motherfuckers are in for it.
Yeah, buckle up, Buttercup. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Oh, God. Yeah, Dale's taking the lead on this one. I will be reacting. But
There's a
sticking
surprise.
to what we've been working on.
Yes.
We've talked about Hollow Moon, we've talked
Yes.
about Hollow Earth, and we
Yes.
alluded to today's topic in our last episode. We talked...
Which is... Don't talk about the topic yet.
Which is what?
Don't talk about the topic
Okay,
yet.
well then why would you say which is if you don't want me to talk about
Because
it?
I'm drunk.
Anyway, before we get into it, another thank you to listeners, new and old.
Yes,
We
yes,
appreciate
yes.
you guys.
Why are you going to call him old?
I'm already annoyed with you.
I'm okay with that.
I know. Well, thank you to anybody who makes it through this episode, because I don't know if I'm going to.
I might not live through this
Yeah,
one.
you might not. Dale's already told me that he can't really see the the outline on his tablet all
I had
that
a little
well.
bit to drink
so,
prior to this.
So, yeah, this is going to be fun. Well, without further ado.
Wait, so
What?
so the buy us a drink thing.
Oh, yeah, we
I'm
changed
going
it
to
up a little.
admit I fucked up, and the buy us a
You
drink.
fucked up or you are fucked up right now?
Well, a little bit of both. But the
gotcha.
buy us a drink thing you could do before was like a monthly subscription, and basically what we were asking was like sign up for it, send us a drink, and cancel your subscription. Because I don't want you to have to pay a monthly thing. But we signed up, screw that. Screw it. That's ridiculous. So we signed up for this thing called Buy Me a Coffee. And, I mean, I love my coffee, but buy us a cocktail. So if you go to buymeacoffee.com or buy me a coffee on the app store of Apple phones, Android phones, whatever. And the link is also in the top of our link tree, which is in our everything that we're doing. You can buy us a coffee. It's a one-time purchase. You can pay whatever the price is. I don't know, maybe $2 or something like that. But it's buymeacoffee.com/Brit and Dale. Brit with 2 T's and Dale. Just kidding. Brit with 1 T. Damn, that shot. That look. Brit
Because
with
why
1
would
T.
you lie to them?
I
Like,
know.
why would
I'm
you
a
make
thief.
it confusing?
I'm a liar. No,
What,
Because
you just
I'm
need
drunk.
everybody to get on your level today?
Yeah. Everybody take a shot and then listen to this episode. No, buymeacoffee.com/Brit and Dale. Brit, BritAnddale. Boom. Get it done. Buy us a drink. You'll be featured on an episode. I will choose.
If you buy us a drink, I'm playing a clip of T-Pain every single time.
Gonna buy you a drink. Like that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, get it.
But
it's funny she
but
says
better.
that. She's gonna play it. She doesn't edit shit. So I'm the one. I just choked on my own spit for a second. I'm okay though, everybody. I am okay.
Yo, your eyes bugged out of your head, and there's just sheer fear written on your face. I wasn't sure if
I'm good.
I wasn't sure if you choked on a word or if you just shit your pants.
I'm not sure. Well, That's a
Oh my
different
god.
story. Shit in my pants is a different story. Anyway, we have so the buy me a coffee. Once again, Brit's freezing cold over here in our podcast room. There's a heater on her. I don't know. I'm gonna be sweating. Maybe there's alcohol involved. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Speaking of freezing, where are we headed tonight?
Oh. Good segue. But do we have any follow up first?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, we're gonna toast real quick with
Yeah.
my agua. This is
Yeah,
the
Dale has switched to water.
yeah, dude. I
Which
need
is
to, guys.
for,
I'm sorry.
it's in everyone's best interest that Dale drinks water right now.
I know we usually do a cocktail, but I need water.
We do. But yeah, and I had more than enough to drink last weekend, so I am dialing it back a bit.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
That's the truth. So this weekend we
But
are
the place we're headed to is surrounded by water.
stay
so-
hydrated, my friends.
Yeah.
Stay hydrated. That's a good cocktail right there.
You're
Sorry.
disgusting.
Love
Don't
you,
burp
everybody.
into the microphone.
Sorry.
That's gross.
Sorry. Love you all. No follow-up from the previous episode. I don't think.
No, this is going to be a bit of a continuation.
Okay. So we did Hollow Moon. We did Hollow Earth. And we are doing something super interesting this episode. So, in 1946, wife, a year after World War II had ended, the United States embarked on a naval mission to explore Antarctica under their United States Navy Antarctic Development Program. The mission was led by the highly decorated Admiral Richard Byrd, who we talked about last episode in the Hollow Earth. The purpose of the mission was to train military personnel and test equipment in frigid conditions, which Antarctica seems like a prime area for that. Determine the feasibility of establishing a military base there. Study the Alright, I wasn't expecting to be drunk while I was reading these words. Study the electromagnetic, geological, geographic, hydrographic, and meteorological characteristics of the area.
It's grease lightning. Oh, shit.
Yeah. It's going to be a good one tonight, folks. It's going to be a good one.
Systematic. Dramatic. There was too much happening there.
There was a lot. Ultimately, though, originally denied, it was to extend the U.S. sovereignty into the ice continent of Antarctica.
Okay.
Okay. So, though these were the supposed purposes of the expedition, there were some absolutely insane things that were allegedly happening down there, and we are going over those tonight. Today.
Whenever
morning.
you're listening.
Whenever you're listening.
For us, it's 12:17 a.m.
This is known as Operation High Jump, which is a big one. You ready for this shit?
I'm ready.
All right.
Hit me.
So quick note, real quick. There is a documentary called The Secret Land that was filmed by military photographers, and it actually won the 1948 Academy Award for Best Documentary Feature Film. It does not at all go over what we're going over today. It's like basically a documentary of what they want you to believe, not necessarily what supposedly actually happened during all of this. Yes. Okay.
So if you're new to the podcast, that's a big theme here is what they want you to believe versus what probably actually happened.
Yeah, probably actually. Those are
Well,
the
we
words.
can't say it actually happened because it's not confirmed.
But we can say probably actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely, maybe.
Definitely, maybe. Yeah. There you go.
It's a definite possibility.
So, to start, let's go over Rear Admiral Richard E. Byrd.
Okay.
Now, you heard of him before. We did briefly talk about him in our previous episode, Hollow Earth. And we talked about the fact that he flew over the North Pole, flew over the South Pole,
Yep.
maybe has seen the inside of this
The
hollow
Earth.
Earth. So, yeah. He was a extremely... So, to back him up and to let you know that he is not a load of bullshit, he is an extremely highly decorated American naval officer and explorer. He was the youngest admiral in naval history. He received the Medal of Honor, was a pioneering American aviator, a polar explorer, served as navigator and expedition leader across the Atlantic Ocean, the Arctic Ocean, and the Antarctic Plateau. Discovered Mount Sidley, which is the largest dormant volcano in Antarctica. In 1926, he completed a North Pole flight. In 1927, he completed a transatlantic flight. 1928 to 1930, he led the first Antarctic expedition. In 1934, the second Antarctic expedition. And in 1939 to 40, a Antarctic service expedition, and this was funded by the U.S. government. It didn't last long because he was recalled to active duty for World War II.
Okay.
And then in August, so 6 years later, August of 1946 to 47, he was recalled back to Antarctica for Operation High Jump, which is what we're talking about today.
Okay.
So this was a much different expedition than any previous ones because it was backed and enforced by the military. So previously, Byrd would just have a small team with him. And sorry, I was distracted for a second. I was just making sure I was recording because Lord knows I've done that before. Not recorded on one of these platforms.
Yeah.
We got our audio, we got our video. Okay. Yeah, sorry. So previously, Byrd would have a small team with him and just do kind of private explorations that were privately funded. You okay? I'm keeping you awake?
Mm-hmm.
I'm keeping you awake?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, stay the fuck awake, because we got high jump, motherfucker.
I'm waiting.
All right. This is a crazy one. This is actually a really fucking wild one. This kind of blew my mind in some spots. So, the expedition was led by Byrd, but he had some company with him.
Okay.
In the form of Task Force 68.
Okay.
So Task Force 68 was not your standard expedition. It included 4,700 men, 13 military ships, and 33 military aircraft. In the 13 ships, there was two icebreakers, which seems pretty standard. They go into the Antarctic. They need to break ice. That's fine. Multiple supply ships, again, pretty standard. They're going to be out there for a few months. 6 to 8 months was the original plan for this expedition. So they need supplies, things like that. That's fine. Aircraft carrier for the 33 aircraft, 1 submarine, and 3 destroyers.
Why?
Exactly. So in the 33 aircraft, there were some seaplanes that were heavily armed, helicopters, and bombers.
That all seems so fucking excessive.
No. I know. But wait until you hear this shit. So this was the largest, most heavily armed expedition that was ever sent to Antarctica.
Yeah, because it's fucking barren.
Right.
What's the point?
Right. So I already mentioned some of the reasons for the expedition to Antarctica.
Yeah.
So some of the additional ones are to locate and destroy a secret Nazi base known as Base 211. Also to capture the Nazis' new supposed secret weapon, the flying saucer. UFOs were seen all over the area, and they were suspected to be Nazi test flights. So, backing up a little bit, in December of 1938, Hitler decided that dedicated a ton of his resources to finding hidden ancient artifacts that were said to have incredible power. He sent the SS Schwabenland. You gotta say it like that. So.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you?
I do.
You were the fat tire talking.
Yeah. Well, the Fat Tire. It's good stuff. New
Yeah.
Belgium Brewery, Fat Tire. If you haven't had it, get yourself some. So
God.
he sent the SS Schwabenland on a secret Antarctic expedition. Aboard this ship were scientists and engineers, but also, listen to this shit, members of the Thule Society, which is a German occultist group. And they believed, which we kind of, I guess, mentioned in a previous episode, that a highly advanced race called the Aryans are living inside of the Earth. And the entrance to their world is believed to be in the South Pole. So the goal of Hitler's expedition was to find, there were a couple goals, but the main ones were to, A, find the way, or find the gateway to the Aryans. Mm-hmm. And then, B, negotiate access to their tech and their weapons.
Okay.
What you gotta say about that?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay, nothing at all. Cool.
What? What do you want me to say?
Good talk. Good soup.
Well, you didn't say anything yet. That was his reason.
I said so much shit. I said a lot of stuff.
Just go.
The goal, yeah. So what they supposedly found was totally unexpected. They found what was described as an Arctic oasis at the South Pole. About 300 square mile area that had no ice and was filled with hot springs and plant life. There, they apparently studied geothermal energy and created futuristic weapons. Yeah. So back to high jump and Admiral Byrd. Get away from the Russians for a little bit here. Or the Germans. Sorry.
Germans.
So the study for the expedition that Byrd had and the gathering of the equipment and men started in August of 1946.
Okay.
The ships on the expedition arrived to their destination in January of 47. So a few months after the fact.
Okay. So August to January. Got it.
Yes. Immediately, they started construction of their new base, which was called Little America. Because what else?
Because, yeah. Super clever.
Right. this was, as I mentioned, supposed to be a 6 to 8 month operation after the base was built. So that they were supposed to go in, build the
Okay.
base, and then
And
6 to 8
then the
months
actual
of
operation was after that.
studies and yeah. These are flimsy ass bottles.
Just gorilla handed.
Right? Goddamn. I do feel like that water bottles have just been so like since they went with like the smaller bottle caps, they're just so much thinner.
It's not just the bottle cap. The whole drive was for less plastic overall.
Got to save the sea turtles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because crushes the man. Righteous! Righteous! So, yeah, 6 to 8 months for the mission after this base was built. After only 40 days, Little America was evacuated. And Task Force 68, which is the one that had all of these boats and airplanes and shit, withdrew their assets and retreated to Chile. After 40 days.
What the hell?
Yeah. So why was the largest Antarctic mission terminated so quickly? And that's what we're getting into right now. So they made port in Chile. As soon as they made port, rumors spread about strange happenings and findings from the expedition. Admiral Byrd spoke with reporters from many different companies. Always had kind of the same story.
Okay.
So instead of denying the rumors, he spoke about his fear and concern of, quote, devastating aerial attacks on the United States.
Jesus.
He warned that it was of, quote, utmost importance for the United States to take extreme measures to build defenses against the Arctic and the Antarctic. He stated that he did not want to alarm anyone. Okay, you're scaring the shit out of everybody.
Jeez.
But in the case of another world war, the U.S. could be attacked by, quote, flying objects that could move from pole to pole at incredible speeds.
Okay.
He reiterated this in a few different statements to a few different news outlets and warned that, quote, there is a new enemy that could attack any country whenever they want.
Jesus.
Yes. So Byrd, after retreating...
So this is now in, like, February, March of 47?
So they retreated, So they retreated in January of 47. This all happened like 2 weeks...
Well, you said they got there January 47 and then retreated so 40 days later, which would, depending on when they got there in January, would put us at either, like, end of February, beginning of March.
March. It was March.
Okay.
So,
So then when is he doing these little freaking interviews and stuff?
As soon as
like
they
as
retreated
soon as they
and
got
made
back?
land,
Okay.
in Chile. So he, where am I here? Byrd was debriefed in Washington after talking to reporters already.
Mm-hmm.
Debriefed in Washington, and despite his public statements from prior weeks, he never spoke about high jump again. So after his debrief in Washington, he just dropped everything. Never talked about Project High Jump again.
What?
Yeah.
That's wild.
I agree with you. In addition to that, the mission was immediately classified as top secret, and any sailor who spoke about the mission would be arrested and imprisoned.
Wow. All right, so there's definitely
some weird shit.
Something going on.
There's some weird shit going on. The Navy, of course, then published, after putting out the statement of it being highly classified and arresting and imprisonment and blah, 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 they published a list of missions achievements. They admitted that some sailors were killed during it, but didn't say how many. And officially, all of the deaths were accidents. And the curious thing about this is that the bodies were buried there. They weren't brought home. Whatever happened to no one left behind. No soldier left behind.
Yeah, and why, how were they all killed by accident?
Yeah. So
All of
some
them?
of them are, and I
No.
think I have my notes here, but they apparently said that some of them happened. There was like a plane that crashed, an exploration plane that crashed, that killed, I don't know, 6 of them. Something with docking one of them. There was somebody that died. I don't know. There was a whole bunch of random
No.
shit.
And even so, did they say how many?
There
Died?
was never. I couldn't find an official count
Okay.
on people that died.
Yeah. They always come home. They always come home.
Well, yeah, nobody left behind. All right, so here are some of the events that happened during all of this. This is where shit starts getting a little weird. As if this wasn't like skeptical to begin with.
Yeah.
This is where it gets a little strange. So, according to documents that were leaked in 1991, strange things were just happening in Camp Little America. So, 2 days after arriving to Antarctica, bright lights were seen on the horizon. Sailors thought it was another ship, so thought it was lights from like the mast of another ship. The lights then ascended very quickly out of the sky at a 45-degree angle. The objects did not show up on the radar of any of the ships in the fleet that were there for Camp Little America. So that's a little peculiar. 3 hours later, 5 more lights showed up in the sky and flew directly toward the U.S. military ships. Anti-aircraft guns were fired, but had no effect. A radio operator on the destroyer USS Brownson made testimony that strange saucer-shaped craft would appear out of the ocean.
Out of the ocean?
Yes.
I never combined the thought that a UFO and a submarine could be one and the same.
So they're not submarines, but UFOs. Faux show. Oh god, too close.
Just stop.
There we go. I've definitely heard of UFOs coming out of the ocean, but this is the earliest I've seen it.
Yeah.
In at least any of these theories we were looking at.
Okay. Let me know if you need to take a break at any point, or I don't know when would be a good spot for you.
Yeah, I don't know either, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see. Why? You good?
I'm fine.
You gotta pee or something?
I always have to pee, but I don't imminently. No, you know me though. I get antsy if I'm sitting for too long. So.
Yeah. So these craft didn't appear on the radar, which is strange. 3 hours later, 5 more lights showed up in the sky and flew directly toward the military ships. Anti-aircraft guns were fired but had no effect. The radio operator on the destroyer Brownson made testimony that strange saucer-shaped craft would appear from the ocean, which is the bonkers part we were just talking about. This was corroborated by Lieutenant John Sayerson. You okay over there?
Yeah.
Sure?
Yep. I'm listening. John Sayerson.
Okay.
I got it.
So, Lieutenant John Sayerson said that the objects shot vertically out of the water at tremendous speeds. One object flew between the masts of one of the ships at such a speed that there was damage to the radio antennas of the ship. So this thing was fucking flying.
That was flying.
Yeah. A plane took off from the USS Currituck, which it was immediately hit, supposedly, with a beam.
I'm sorry. Did we talk about this ship in another episode?
Maybe, I don't know.
That name sounds familiar.
Maybe. It was immediately struck with a beam of energy and destroyed. So the plane was destroyed.
Okay.
10 miles away, the USS Maddox torpedo boat burst into flames and started to sink. This was the first attack of many that occurred over the next few weeks in Antarctica. During one of Admiral Byrd's flights, this is where shit starts getting real fucking weird. Real fucking weird. We're only a half hour in, but I don't know. Should we take a break?
It's up to you. Where are we at in the content?
We're about halfway through the content.
Okay. It's up to you.
Let's get through it. Let's do it. Because this shit gets bonkers. All right, so during one of Admiral Byrd's flights, he was missing for over 3 hours. Officially, the Navy says this was due to radio failure. But this is a case of lost time, which is a very common thing when it comes to UFOs and aliens and shit like that. Thankfully, though, Byrd was meticulous about documenting everything. Once he got back to the U.S., as part of his debrief, he had to hand over all of his journals, which were immediately classified documents. However, he kept a secret diary.
I like this guy.
Because my man is the shit. And he allegedly gave this to his son before he died. The claims in this diary are fucking crazy. Crazy. So you know what? Right now is where we're going to take a break, I guess, because this is a good spot, I think.
Okay.
We're going to be getting into Byrd's secret diary next.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So stay tuned. Come back with us. We'll be back in a minute. And we are back to talk about Admiral Byrd's
super secret journal.
Super secret. It's a good one.
Okay.
All right. I'll listen.
Taking your word for it there, bud.
Listen to this shit. Ready for it? All right.
I guess, yeah.
I'm glad. So. Sorry, I scrolled past the spot I needed to be. So, all right. So we mentioned previously he was meticulous about taking notes on his flights and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. He was a very decorated explorer. So he knew that there were problems that would happen when you're flying. You need to make sure you have redundancies in your documentation.
Okay.
So he fueled up for a flight early in the morning. At 8:15 a.m., he radio checks in with base camp in Antarctica for routine check-in. Situation was normal.
Okay.
Everything's good to go. So he keeps looking. At 9:10, 55 minutes later, he notices a color pattern in the snow. He makes visual contact with camp and then radios in his findings. This is where it starts getting a little weird.
Okay.
His instruments start showing some strange stuff. The compasses are spinning and jumping so much that he can't use them, which isn't a huge deal. He's a very experienced pilot.
Right.
So he switches over to using the sun as navigation and maintains a visual contact with camp. So he used the sun to make sure he's headed in the right bearing and everything. He reports to base camp that his controls feel, quote, sluggish.
Okay.
And he's concerned about the wings icing up. They're in Antarctica. I could see that being a concern.
Makes sense.
I have zero flight experience in an airplane, but I could definitely see that being a concern.
Yeah.
He does notice ice on the wings, but it's nothing that he feels should cause a problem. And I mean, he's a very experienced pilot, so I would trust his opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking it's nothing that would cause a problem. 9:49, 39 minutes after the last check-in. In the distance, he sees what looks like a mountain range. He flies toward it to investigate and confirms that it is a small range of mountains that he's never seen before. He's been to Antarctica a few times prior to this.
Yeah.
On expeditions, private expeditions. So he crosses the mountain range and crosses a green valley with a river running through it. The compasses are still spinning, and the gyroscope is kind of oscillating back and forth, and his instruments are not working well.
Okay.
He circles back and drops down in altitude for a closer look at what the hell he's actually seeing.
Mm-hmm.
So he reports that the green that he's seeing is a moss or a grass of some point, of some
kind.
It's
Okay.
it's very lush, but it's not like a forest. It's more like a low dwelling.
Okay.
Some sort of grass. The light seemed different to him in the sky than it had previously, and he can see the ground easily, but he could no longer see the sun. So that was a big concern to him because he was using the sun to navigate.
Okay.
So then on the green valley that he's looking at while he's flying,
Okay.
he sees a large animal walking in this grass moss area.
Mm-hmm.
He approaches it, couldn't really believe his eyes of what he was seeing.
Okay.
So he decreases his altitude
Okay.
and comes in for a closer look. And he describes what he saw as a mammoth-like animal.
Okay. Mammoths would have been extinct for ages.
Ages, yeah.
Okay.
It takes him almost 30 minutes to realize that it's not cold anymore. There's no frost on his window of his airplane. The ice on his wings are gone. And the window of the canopy is actually warm to the touch. So he records an external air temperature in Antarctica of 74 degrees.
No fucking way.
Now this is where it really gets strange. What are your thoughts up till now on this? Do you have any thoughts on what's going on?
I mean, my guess is that he's already inside the Earth and that he didn't realize that he went inside at some point rather than still being like in/near Antarctica. Like he flew in not realizing that he was no longer.
So if you didn't listen to our Hollow Earth episode, jump back and listen to that because Brit's referencing kind of what Byrd maybe has seen in that.
Yeah.
And we talked about that in that episode.
Well, I mean, even if you weren't aware of there being a Hollow Earth theory, like what else? What other explanation would there be before going to dropping or changing temperature as drastically as they did, as quickly as they did, to go from freezing temperatures to 74 degrees? You said that's a big difference, and not what you're used to seeing in Antarctica. So like, you would have to just assume that you had just like taken a detour somewhere and you're now over a different area than.
Yeah. He stopped at Buc-ee's and was like, "Yo."
Shut up. No, I mean like, I don't know how like fucking Christopher Columbus thought he landed in fucking India and it was actually the Americas. Like,
Is that what he thought?
that's how the name Indians like came to be, even though they're
shit.
not actually from India.
You learn something new every day.
Did you not know that, really?
I don't know. Maybe. Probably not.
Hold on a second.
You got your headphones fucked up?
Yeah, and I'm moving my heater.
Oh, she's got to move the heater because she's cold.
It's annoying. It's warming one half of my one leg.
She's cold. Where are you moving it to?
Under there.
Oh, God. She's going to plug it in even closer?
Well, I'm just going
I'm
to put
sweating
it in
over
front of
here.
you. You'll live.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to live. Oh, my God.
It's fucking
Can you guys... Oh, yeah, you can see it. Look at that booty. I can't cut this.
Yes, you can.
No, I can't.
Yes,
We're
you
talking.
Can. We're not talking.
You didn't do it like an outro. No, check out that boot.
Whatever. Look what you want. Most people are listening, not looking anyway, so whatever.
I don't know. If you weren't looking, you should check it out. YouTube.
Make sure you like and subscribe. That shit's not for free.
If you want to see some of my booty, check out my OnlyFans.
You're dumb. Come on.
Okay. All right. So, this is where it gets really fucking weird.
It already is weird.
I know, but no, wait for this shit. All right. So, Byrd flies for another hour over this oasis, and on the horizon, he sees a city. Listen to this.
Okay.
His plane shudders, and he notices the controls just kind of feel off, and the plane feels light. He can't, like, he's steering, but it just kind of feels like it's not all there.
Okay.
On either side of him, again, let me just, before I get into this, let me just remind you. Byrd is a highly decorated naval officer. And he's done Rear Admiral, one of the youngest to be appointed to this position. And he is extremely experienced in this exploration realm of things.
Including Antarctica.
Yes. He's been there before, but never on this caliber of an exploration. So on either side of his aircraft, saucer-shaped vehicles fly next to him, shining a light of some sort onto his airplane.
Okay.
They're running completely silent. He tries to break the formation and head back to base, but the plane's engine cuts out, but he's still flying. He's controlled by some unknown force. The saucer-shaped objects are now so close to him that Byrd can make out symbols and writing on the sides of these aircraft.
Okay.
And the symbols that he sees and understands are their swastikas.
Oh, shit.
So, this is World War II era. It is brought up in so many situations and so many operations, movies, that the Germans had this extremely advanced science somehow.
Yeah.
So I found that very interesting because UFOs, at least according to Byrd, and what he's describing here is they're German aircraft.
Yeah.
They're not aliens.
Not aliens from another planet.
Right.
Germans.
Right. So the radio, which was not working for over an hour at this point, starts to receive a signal. And the voice spoke in English, but with a German accent. The plane that Byrd is in gently lands itself, and Byrd's met by several men. They're all tall with blonde hair.
Aryan. Okay, so the
What?
never mind.
What?
I just I don't know. There's a lot happening. Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
Um.
Yeah, there's a lot in this.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
It's just baffling to me that Byrd wouldn't have found this during one of his previous expeditions, or at least shown some aspect of like where he was headed, like why.
So we're getting to that.
That's kind of what I figured. That's why I said like never
getting to that.
mind, because I had a feeling that was coming. But
we're getting to that. So after this plane gently lands itself, and he's met by all these people that are tall with blonde hair, Byrd was led to a platform that levitated and flew them towards the city that he saw in the distance.
okay.
He was directed to an elevator, and that takes them quickly and silently into the ground.
Okay.
So cities above, they're dropping down into the earth. He was told that he was being taken to, quote, the master.
Okay.
Yes, the master. I feel like I'm losing you here.
No, I'm fine. It's intense.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So the master says that his people are called the Ariani.
Okay.
States that they have observed humans for a long time, but only now they're choosing to interfere. And again, this was World War II.
Right after World War II.
Yeah. The master warns that the human race, and I could not agree with this master more, is too immature for atomic energy. And they're at risk of destroying themselves. We're a bunch of fucking idiots.
Absolutely.
So I agree with the master.
How many dumbasses have burned their house down on Thanksgiving, deep frying a turkey, and blown a fucking limb off on 4th of July? No.
But it's good turkey.
Not if the whole house is charred too.
No, you're good. You still got a good meal.
Nah, fuck
You're
that.
fine. You're fine.
Nah. And fucking people are blowing off their entire arm on 4th of July. No.
Yeah. What happens if I hold this firecracker in my enclosed fist?
Dude, it's not even that though. Sometimes like they laid off the friggin' things and they like topple over and come shooting out of the side instead of up the front.
Have you ever seen the video of the dachshund?
No.
Grabbing. Oh my God, this dachshund. I'll if I can find it, I'll post. I'll put a link. This dachshund, this redneck family, they light off this bottle rocket.
Okay.
This dachshund runs up and grabs the bottle rocket and starts running around. And this thing's pew, pew, shooting at all these fuckers' trucks.
Oh my God.
And they're like ducking for cover. And this dachshund is just like, yeah, motherfucker, America.
How's this for a trick, bitch?
Oh my God.
That's hilarious.
It is the funniest video. I'll have to find that.
That's pretty funny.
It's a good one. It's a good one. Anyway, back to Byrd. So he, the master, yes. He warns human race is too immature for atomic energy. He then says that every time they try to make contact with humans, they're fired upon and pursued by fighter planes. So instead of trying to make contact, they're talking to Byrd to relay the message. And they know that he's a highly respected figure. They figure that he might be able to have something to freaking
like to sway them.
Bring back, to
all right. Well, I mean,
humans.
I like the logic.
Yeah. So the master just kind of hopes that the world's going to believe what Byrd has to say. He's then led back to his plane after talking with the master. Maybe he was fed some delicious alien food.
Yeah, probably.
I hope so.
They roofied his ass.
What do you think they fed him? There's gotta be some sort of. Do aliens eat people? I don't know.
I don't know.
Like maybe they do in what's the Tom Cruise one?
War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds. They eat aliens or they eat people in that, right? They suck them out through like a straw, don't they?
I forget. It was like this weird, like, pod thing that they were, like,
Slurping
walking around
people?
in.
It's like human Slurpees, basically.
I thought they were, like, disintegrating them, though, with, like, a fucking laser beam.
I don't know. Freaking laser beams. So after he meets with the master, he is led back to his own plane, which is guided by the same force that brought him to the city. And after a few minutes of flight, a voice came over the radio again that wasn't working and said that the controls are his. Kind of a whole crazy situation.
So when he said, I'm sorry, he said the controls are his, meaning like he's giving them back to Byrd now.
Meaning, yeah,
like
Byrd can do whatever he wants now.
You
can fly wherever the fuck you want.
Okay.
You can fly directly into a woolly mammoth's asshole if you want.
Apparently, you can find one.
Yeah. So during his debrief at the Pentagon, he relayed the message to the president and other officials of what the master told him.
Okay. And everybody thought he was fucking cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
So after this debrief, Byrd never spoke of Operation High Jump again. But the last entry in his diary was, quote, "Just as the long night of the Arctic ends, the brilliant sunshine of truth shall come again, and those who are of darkness shall fall in its light, for I have seen that land beyond the pole, the center of the great unknown." And that was on Christmas Eve of 1956. He wrote that in his diary.
Wow.
Pretty deep, right?
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
It's a lot to unpack just in that entry. Then 3 months later, March 11th, 1957, almost 10 years to the day of them fleeing Antarctica, Byrd passed away in his home in Boston of heart failure.
Suicided?
No, well, this was of heart failure. There was nothing real mysterious of that.
Okay.
But his diary was found by his son and released, as was Byrd's wish.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things, there's some interesting facts here about all of this. And we're close to the end here. So think about your thoughts on this.
I am.
So here's some very interesting thoughts on interesting happenings. So 18 months after Byrd died, the Antarctic Treaty was signed.
Okay.
And this treaty banned anyone from going to the Antarctic without signatures from one of the 12 signatory governments. And that is Argentina, Australia, Belgium, Chile, the French Republic, Japan, New Zealand, Norway, South Africa, the Soviet Socialist Republic, United Kingdom, and the United States. And even with special permission to go into Antarctica, there was only a few small designated areas they were actually allowed to go to.
Gotcha. So I'm assuming that this lush green oasis is not one of those lands.
I would assume that as well. You're a very brilliant woman, you know that?
Yeah,
That's why I married you. The rest of the land was completely off limits.
And how many signatures or was it that
There's
they needed?
They need a signature of from one of the 12 signatory governments.
Oh my god!
But again, even if they get that signature, they can only go to these specific
spots. So
areas.
what's the point?
Yeah.
Like at this point, people know about those other spots. It's this recent that I'm going to assume is not allowed.
Right.
Oh god.
Yeah. So here are some real interesting facts that I found here.
Okay.
So Richard Byrd, who is the admiral, rear admiral we had been talking about here, has a son named Richard Evelyn Byrd III. And that's Byrd's son that received this secret journal, supposedly. He was commissioned to ensign into the Naval Reserve in 1942, promoted to lieutenant in 1944, and accompanied by his father, or he accompanied his father, Admiral Byrd, in 1946 during Operation High Jump.
Okay.
So his son was with him on a high jump. He was escorted onto a train in Boston,
Okay.
headed toward Washington, D.C. on December 13th, 1988. The train was headed to a National Geographic Society event being held to honor the 100th anniversary of his father's birth. So they were doing this thing on the 100th anniversary of his father's birthday.
Okay.
He never arrived.
The son didn't?
He went missing.
No fucking way.
Almost a month later, October 3rd, 1988, his body was found in a warehouse in Baltimore, Maryland. 68 years old at the time of his death, and the official cause of his death was dehydration and malnutrition, which resulted from Alzheimer's disease.
What?
Very strange.
How old
death.
was he? 68?
68.
No signs of Alzheimer's prior to that.
No.
You don't die from Alzheimer's at 68 unless you're you've early onset and you're diagnosed pretty young.
So that is an extremely strange
That
thing.
is
So my thought
highly,
on that,
highly unlikely.
my thought on that is like he obviously had information that nobody wanted getting out,
Yeah,
so he was killed off.
absolutely. And they use the Alzheimer's excuse for
Yeah.
in case he did say something to somebody, they could just
Wound
write
it
it
up.
off.
Yeah,
as
he's
he
crazy.
was-
Yeah, he's got Alzheimer's.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I knew you'd like that part because that's pretty crazy. So I mentioned that there were some people that died in Antarctica.
Mm-hmm.
So regarding the bodies of the dead that were left in Antarctica, there's some weird stuff too. In 2004, there was an attempt to locate the remains of the downed plane that supposedly crashed during a blizzard and killed 6 people. In 2007, a group called the George I Recovery Team tried to get direct military involvement and raise funds from the United States Congress to try to find the bodies of the men killed in the plane crash. And guess what? They were denied.
I was going to say they got pulled.
Yes, they were denied. So what are your thoughts on that so far?
Oh, Byrd definitely friggin' found the pole entrance. I don't know if there's a full oasis or if he was losing his shit just from being away for so long or what, but I believe there's something more to that, absolutely. What do you think?
Well, I agree. I mean, he found something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what he found, but I always find it very, and I don't know, I don't like to consider myself a skeptic, but at the same time, I always find it very interesting.
Yeah.
Let's call it interesting. When there's a situation where Byrd comes back to the US, he's debriefed, and everything is classified.
Yeah. And the fact
you're
that
sent
he
out on a
isn't talking about it anymore, and all of his stuff was confiscated, and everything is just weird.
If you're sent out on a classified mission,
you know it's classified from the beginning.
That's I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
I'm not. I find it okay. That's just part of the job.
Right.
That was the plan all along. It is what it is. But this one, I don't know. Do I believe that there's a hollow earth? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I've been in the same town basically my whole life. I mean, I've never really explored beyond the East Coast of the United States.
Right.
Like, I have no fucking idea.
I guess part of my question is like, why make all this stuff top secret, classified, blah 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 blah, and why then make it so that like if somebody were to want to go and explore, that they can only do certain things in certain places.
Right.
Like, why limit that unless there was something going on that you didn't want people to see?
Yeah.
Like,
I find
otherwise, the pitch that they're giving us is that Antarctica is basically just like a barren land of freaking polar bears and seals. And
yeah,
shit.
I mean,
Like,
I find it hard to believe that, like, if there were an alien race, that they would be living so close without us knowing. But
well,
I also
is the thought that they're alien? It was alien.
well,
right?
the Aryan race is supposedly like an alien race that's living within
Gotcha.
within the Earth. I find it hard to believe that there will be any race that we don't publicly know about, just because, at least nowadays too, everything's public.
Yeah.
If the government doesn't want you to know about it, you won't know about it. But like, I don't know. It's just, I find it hard to believe that there could be like a whole race
Yeah.
that's
Living underground.
Yeah, unless it's just like it's a power thing, that the powers to be in our world are just not interested in finding out, or
well, they already know about it. They just don't
relay.
want us to know about
Yeah,
it.
so there. I mean, there's a ton of ties, and I don't know what episode this is going to tie into, but it'll be one of them because it's kind of big. And I may have mentioned it before, but there's a ton of ties with President Eisenhower and aliens. He supposedly had some sort of meeting with an alien. Like, there's speculation that he met with aliens and made some sort of treaty or something like that.
Okay.
But I don't know. I find this what's I don't know, and again, maybe this is just me trusting the military. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't do that. I have no idea. Like,
Yeah.
whatever your political views are, I don't really give a fuck. But like, Rear Admiral Byrd, like, the guy is a extremely highly decorated military personnel.
Mm-hmm.
Why would he make this shit up? Like, he doesn't have anything to gain from it.
Right. If anything, if he's making it up, he's gonna lose a shitload of credibility and.
Like, what's he got to do to gain? Fame?
Right.
He's already got a fuckload of fame. He's done explorations in Antarctica.
Right.
He's done explorations at North Pole. Like, he's
strange.
Yeah. He's got nothing to gain from it.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems very, very weird to me that he would make it up. And it's very elaborate. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. Is the secret diary real? I don't fucking know.
I think it is.
I don't know. Maybe it is. I hope it is.
Because I think being in the Navy or being in the military in any capacity, you have to kind of know that at any point anything that you document could be taken. Yeah. So I could see him,
Keeping
like you
secret.
said, having as much experience in the military as he did. I could definitely see him keeping track of that for his own records, I guess, with the intention of bringing that secret journal home.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, and the fact that he gave his son the journal
as like his dying wish or whatever.
Yeah, like 3 months before he died. I mean, I don't know. It's just very there's a lot of, I feel like you can't I don't know. I feel like you can't chalk it up to coincidence.
Yeah.
At that point.
There's too many.
Yeah. You got a little crazy fucking
and now I just pulled the one
hair shit going on.
My headphones were sliding back.
I don't have to worry about that hair thing.
What?
I don't have to worry about that hair thing.
Yeah.
You do?
I do.
I mean, you don't have to worry about it, I guess.
Nah, I don't really worry about it.
You can just look like Raggedy Ann.
Thanks, babe.
I got you. Got you, boo.
Yeah.
Anything else? What do you think? You think Bird's just fucking cuckoo, and like
No.
finally lost his shit, or do you
No.
think he actually?
I just said I think that he actually.
I know, but like 3 hours of lost time. Like you think he just fucking went out to pasture and was just like, "Meh, I'm fucking crazy."
No.
I don't know. He was up there. When it was all said and done.
Okay.
I don't know. This one's a tough one for me. By the way, total sidebar. My man Buzz Aldrin, we talked about during the Hollow Moon. We should have mentioned this earlier. Got married. He just got married. 93 years old.
On his 93rd birthday.
Got married to a 64-year-old woman. Forget her name.
She was like his partner of like 23 years or something.
Yeah, something like that. Got married to her. Sure, I don't know. Maybe she's an alien. He was one of the ones that talked about aliens too. But Byrd did talk about flying his plane into an opening in the Earth at the North Pole. He talked about it in the South Pole.
Mm-hmm.
It's fairly consistent. I mean, that's what draws me to think maybe it is true. Why the governments would need to agree to make this a thing that's secretive, I don't know.
I don't know.
So I want to believe in any of this, like, aliens living inside the Earth thing. I want to kind of believe it.
Right.
But at the same time, like, why would all of the governments of the world agree? They don't agree on fucking literally anything else.
Because sometimes it doesn't matter what the agreement is or who it's with. As long as the general idea is to protect the common greater good, they're all going to vote for the same thing.
But what would the greater good have to do with letting us know that there's an alien race?
Okay. Let's just imagine for an instant that tomorrow on the news, noon, they announce that all the government knows is there's this internal race that's living in the middle of the earth and they're from some fucking alien planet. Like, do you really think that's not going to cause mass hysteria? You're going to have freaking riots. You're going to have people doing all kinds of crazy shit. And panicking. Severely fucking panicking. There's no way that people are going to take that news well. Especially if they know that they've known about it for friggin' 60 years.
Crazy. People are crazy.
I agree.
Because, like, what the fuck would panicking do?
I don't know, dude. People are crazy. Like you said, like...
Batshit. People are fucking bonkers.
I don't get it, man.
You tired over there?
Yes.
Get that closer to you.
Dude, it's 1:30 in the morning.
Is it really 1:30?
Yes.
Jackpot, dude. It's 1:21. It's not 1:30. We've recorded later than this. You're gonna be okay. I'll make you tea in the morning. You'll be fine. Double bag it. That's all I got.
Okay.
Luckily for you, since you're tired.
Yeah, I am.
And luckily for all y'all, even though it's only been probably close to an hour after I edit this. But thank you guys for listening. This was a crazy one when I was researching it. I hope you guys found it interesting. It was I don't know. I think this kind of brings our Hollow Earth, Hollow Moon, kind of immediate alien section
to a close.
To a wrap.
I think so.
I don't know what our next episode is going to be.
I don't know.
Maybe it'll be... I don't know. Why I have new shoes on today.
Why they stink already
why
after the first day
Why
you wore
my
them.
feet smell so bad. I don't know. This is a job for the doctors.
Yeah. I don't think anybody can help you.
No, I don't think so. But as always, Linktree has our links to all of our social media, ways to contact us, and now again the ways to buy us a
Coffee.
cocktail. Cocktail?
Fuck off tail?
Fuck off tail? To buy us a coffee. It's a buy me a coffee app on your phone. There's a website. But you basically plug in a toast to the atypical. You can buy us a drink. So I don't have to drink water and sober up for a drink. Or for our episode. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate all of you.
Yep.
And
Ditto.
I guess from here on, here's It Ain't the Butterfly, because that's old. But here's a toast to the Tootsie Roll.